Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, we are officially live.
We are. Happy Thursday, everybody. We've got an amazing show today. By the way, this is the Today-ish show with James and Dani. I'm Dani.
My name is James Lee. Yes, welcome to the pod.
We just popped on. We were live on TikTok. I still am live on TikTok. And wow, it's like you think the stuff with Charlie Kirk is going to like die down and we're going to have a break in the case or something is going to happen. And it's just cover up galore.
Well, I feel like the more they try to explain the situation, bringing people on, like his head of security, they're saying, okay, this is going to answer all the questions for you guys. And it just leads to more questions, more inconsistencies, which we're all going to get into. And then we have the stuff that's happening with Epstein. That's another story that just never dies because it seems like the cover-up continues on, even though it's passed the Epstein Transparency Act or whatever it is.
We're not getting it. We're not getting anything. You think we're going to get anything?
You know, I am not holding my breath, but I think the public wants it bad. So if they I think if they don't walk anybody to jail, this is
right. They need to throw us a bone.
They need to throw some.
Give us Bill Gates. Everybody will be happy.
Yeah, give us one on each side, and then we'll move on.
Exactly.
But we also have another cover-up that we're talking about here in California with the Palisades fire, just to give people a little update there. Are you off of the no more TikTok, huh?
Yeah, I'm off. It's distracting me. Okay, so lots of cover-up stuff going on, but first we need to start with something that happened last night.
Oh, before we get into that, just housekeeping stuff about the pod. We have enabled, I believe, super chats. We'll be pulling in chats at the end of the show. I was talking to the people who were here last week. I was trying to figure out the functionality of this live stream and trying to pull in the chats. I think I figured that out. So we're going to try to get to that at the end of the show. So, test it out if you'd like, and let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section. And okay, go ahead. What are we talking about?
So this is with the Charlie Kirk case. It broke last night that Salt Lake City KUTV Channel 2
shout out
sent a grandma request to the sheriff's department in Washington County where Tyler Robinson turned himself in, asking for the footage of him turning himself in.
And just so everybody knows, a grandma request is where it's like a public records request is what they call it in Utah, right?
Yes. And so anybody can request one, especially media outlets. And they finally got a request saying, we don't have access or we don't have any jail footage because he wasn't taken to the jail. So then KUTV brought into the horizon because it was kind of like they were nitpicking this. And they said, okay, we want the security footage for the whole building.
Oh, I just realized something. Sorry to cut you off. You were not on camera for that entire time. That is my bad.
Okay, well, what can I say?
I'm sorry. My bad. All right, I was supposed to be doing the camera switches.
Yes.
And then we went live, and then I got so excited that we're live that I forgot to do that. That is my bad. You don't need to repeat it again because people could still hear you.
Yes. You guys, James, that's his excuse, but he just wanted the camera on him. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no, it's just me like nodding. I probably was just like, okay, yeah.
So anyways, they brought in the request and they come back and they say, sorry, we don't have that. That footage would have expired. Let's go ahead and show this element to sum it up for you guys. Watch this.
Rudy Bautista is a Rule 8 attorney, qualifications only select number of defense attorneys in Utah have in order to defend cases with a capital offense, some involving a possible death penalty. He's not affiliated with the case involving Tyler Robinson, who's accused of shooting and killing Charlie Kirk back in September. I showed him what I found that could indicate there's potential missing evidence in the case.
He said, hey, I know who Charlie Kirk's shooter is.
On September 17th, 2025, Washington County Sheriff Nate Brooksby held a press conference.
Our job was not to interview, our job was just to get him here.
After Charlie Kirk's alleged shooter was taken into custody in Washington County less than 2 days after the shooting.
Within the hour, my friend drove Tyler and his parents to my office. where he was greeted by plainclothes detectives.
After learning of this, I submitted a public records request to obtain any video of Tyler Robinson walking into the jail facility. Washington County responded saying there were no records responsive to the request, as Robinson did not go to the jail area. Our request for any holding room video was denied. A few weeks later, I re-upped the request on a more generalized scale for surveillance video showing Tyler Robinson walking into the sheriff's office.
For the state of Utah, we would certainly hope that this video is available.
The response? Our office does not have any applicable records responsive to this request, as the surveillance footage is no longer available after the 30-day retention period.
If in fact it has been destroyed and not preserved, it's very concerning. And if it has, then it's very concerning that they're telling you they don't have it. If they no longer have it, I would have expected to say that this video has been provided to the Utah County law enforcement. Please contact them.
Well, so I actually went and looked some of this stuff up when they said, we don't have any of the records because of this 30-day retention policy. And according to the Washington County Sheriff's policy manual, they don't have a 30-day retention policy based on
what?
Yeah, it discusses that there is like a retention of recorded media, but it doesn't specify specifically 30 days.
Okay, for me, I heard this and I was like, what is this, a 7-Eleven? Like, you just have shoddy surveillance? When you, by the way, I think it's important to bring up, they knew, the sheriff's office knew that they were going to be getting Tyler Robinson turning himself in to the department. They knew this 12 hours minimum in advance because Tyler Robinson's dad, the father of justice, negotiated a gentle surrender of Tyler Robinson. So this idea that like the surveillance wasn't working when you are literally apprehending the biggest assassin of our alleged assassin of our generation is ludicrous, and it just reeks of another component of this massive cover-up.
Well, so that's the important thing that we need to know. The reason why that footage is really important is it needs to match the affidavit. It needs to match like what they told us what happened, and if it doesn't match, then they got a problem.
Yeah, a big problem, and it needs to match the time, right?
Yeah.
Because like in all of these articles with the gentle surrender, I'll bring this up, in all of these articles, it says, and by the way, this is like national news. It says that, you know, he came in for a gentle surrender to the Washington County Sheriff's Office just before 10 p.m. You can see that here, right? That's when they negotiated it. And then he arrived, I think it was like right before.
So we do have that photo right there.
Yes.
They have that.
Right at 6 a.m. I think it says here that he turned himself in around 6 a.m. in the morning. So we would need the times to match. And then also, like, where was this picture taken?
Well, it says it was taken from the Utah County Jail.
So exactly, if it says that, then why isn't there any video of him walking into the jail?
Well, because they lost it. Because they lost it, quote unquote.
So, like, basically, with this new information, you would say, were the cameras never on? Did someone purposely disable the cameras, right? Because it was an inside job situation and they didn't want any footage of Tyler Robinson turning himself in. Did Tyler Robinson turn himself in? Did somebody delete the footage?
There's a lot of questions. And this seems to be a repeating pattern, a repeating theme with this whole case, is that every time they give us more information, it seems like it just unveils a whole new set of pieces that don't make any sense at all.
No, none of it makes sense. And of course, I feel like Candace Owens is single-handedly leading the charge to cracking this case. And she's been pretty successful at doing this. But before we get into that stuff, remember, Tyler Robinson never even confessed or pled guilty. We can just remind you of that here.
On the investigation, you say he admitted that, confessed? No, not again. He has not confessed to authorities. He is not cooperating. But all the people around him are cooperating, and I think that's very important. There were reports yesterday that we can confirm that his roommate was indeed a boyfriend who is transitioning from male to female. That's information that the FBI had mentioned yesterday. We can confirm that as well, and that he is cooperating with authorities as well.
So I just have to say, it's not important that he never confessed, but what is important here is that his boyfriend is transgender.
Well, yeah, that's a critical detail that I think that they thought the public was going to be way more on board with that. I feel like there was this whole trans narrative. You called this out day one on September 10th or 11th, the day we shot the podcast.
Or 11th, you're right.
It was the 11th, and you said day one, here's what's going to happen. They're going to, have the trans-free, this is going to be something, and then that became part of the story.
I said they're going to say he's trans, whoever it was. We didn't even know, by the way, who Tyler Robinson was at this time when I said this. He was not even on the radar. At the time, George Zinn had been apprehended, okay? So...
Oh, that's right. The day one was George Zinn.
Day one was George Zinn. I go, he's going to... Whoever they end up pinning this on or, whatever, arresting for this is going to be transgender. He's going to have a manifesto, and he's going to end up dead. Okay, so far 2 out of the 3, we don't know where Tyler Robinson is. We haven't seen him. Now there's no footage of him even walking into the jail. He hasn't confessed. There's no actual surveillance, clear surveillance of him on campus. So what the hell is going on?
That's the question that we're all wondering. What the hell is going on here? And speaking of which, there's another, if you can go to C3 here, just want to call this out. If you could pull up the photo there, there's a security camera that is right behind the stage where Charlie Kirk was shot. Okay, so apparently UVU has now denied a grandma request for the camera footage behind Charlie's tent. Right, so because this would capture everything, and you would have a wide view to see who is moving weird. You can probably maybe even see the shooter up in the corner of the building if he was supposedly there. But here's what they're saying, and why they won't release the footage is that UVU says that to reveal this footage would jeopardize public safety and endanger enforcement proceedings, investigations, and someone's right to a fair trial. And then Sam Parker, shout out to him. He says, I wonder how revealing this footage would endanger anyone's safety or a fair trial for Tyler Robinson.
No, it would be Cash's safety. I mean, it's just really pathetic. And I also just want to remind everybody that a month before Charlie Kirk was on campus, Utah, UVU, had updated their cameras on campus to 1080 HD. It was like this big, update of all their cameras that they did. So all this grainy, blurry footage that we're getting, we know that much higher quality footage exists, right? You can get the crevices of the moon with your iPhone, and yet we can't get one clear shot of Tyler Robinson. It's insane.
We should have a few of those. There's cameras everywhere on that campus. I'm just going to, we've said it many times, and we're going to do it until we're blue in the face, but there's cameras all over the place. They're saying that we can't release this right now because it has to wait for trial. That is what they're saying. Which
makes me at this point wonder if we have to wait for trial so they can AI generate some bullshit.
Well, that's the part where I'm wondering is even if this footage comes out, how believable is it at this point that it's undoctored?
I mean, look, the one hope that I have is that they have done such a shitty job at the evidence that they've presented us with so far, like the text message exchange, my love, all of that, that I really think that whoever is in charge of this cover-up underestimates the overall intelligence of the population.
I think they do. And I think we're going to get to this a little bit later in the Shawn Ryan
I think
part,
we should jump there now,
but
actually.
Because of the important part is I want to see the ballistics match. If you can't match the ballistics, how could you even convict a guy?
Right.
You know,
So-
and I want to see somebody go out there on the shooting range, set up the parameters, the exact distance away from that the shot was taken from, and I want the bullet that supposedly was used, that was found in the autopsy, right? They supposedly found a bullet in there, and I want to see somebody reproduce that and be able to say, all right, it was stopped. Look at this, boom. And I want expert gunmen. I want like rifle experts. I want hunters. I want them to try to reproduce this particular situation where somehow a bullet can enter the neck and be stopped by a bone.
Well, hunters on YouTube and on X have tried to reenact this to prove the opposite of what you're saying, right?
But every time it's been like blasting through like planks of wood, and it blasts through this like ballistics gel. So nobody has been able to produce a situation where it says, oh, look, it was stopped.
Okay, so on that note, Shawn Ryan, a podcaster.
Oh, before we get to Shawn Ryan, can we, real quick, we got our first, I know we said we would do this at the end, but we have our first super chat. So I want to see if we could pull this up just as a first one here. So if you can go right there to if you scroll up a little bit, go to the favorites, just click on favorites, boom, and then click on it. There should be a way to pull that into the screen. Here, let me see.
Well, I can read it. My first super, you guys are great journalists that are braver, that get the people's favor. Go Max always. God bless. Thank you so much. And that was from Meta for Monkey. You are amazing. Oh, we pulled it in. Amazing. Thank you so much.
There we go.
You are awesome.
We figured it out.
So speaking of going Max, that's exactly what we're going to do, because we are going to call out Shawn Ryan, or I'm going to, and all of this is allegedly so that I am not sued. But I just have to say that Shawn Ryan, former Navy SEAL and former contracted by the CIA.
Contractor, yep.
For security, does this big interview, first time interview ever with Brian Harple, Charlie Kirk's head of security. And for those of you that didn't see it, watch it on your own. But I just want to say that the whole entire time I was watching it, I was going, objection, objection, leading the witness. He would literally paint the picture for Brian Harple to kind of piggyback off of throughout this whole entire interview. It was like he was leading this interview.
Well, it sounded like it was almost scripted. Like, hey, we're going to go through. And you do prep for shows. Like, that's not necessarily.
Yes,
but this is like, hey, we're going to go and talk about it in a specific way.
Yes, this is different. And speaking of the gun, we had known that, right, they're telling us it's a 30-06 big game hunting rifle. It's this antique rifle that, is supposed to like shoot down elephants and rhinos, right? No, that's what it's used for in hunting. And they're saying
you're not supposed to shoot elephants and rhinos.
I wouldn't. I'm just saying that's what it's used for. I've never shot a gun, so But that's what they say that it's used for.
We should go to the shooting range. We should try to get this exact.
Yeah, we'd be perfect at it. And all of the experts are saying there's no way it was this bullet. Candace Owens asked Don Jr. publicly on her show, just come out and say you believe it's that gun, right? And nobody will say it's that gun. And then Andrew Colvett had come out and said that the surgeon said the bullet was stopped by Charlie Kirk's spine of steel and found the bullet beneath the skin, basically implying that the bullet is there intact. And then Shawn Ryan does this interview with Brian Harple, head of security, and starts painting this new narrative. Watch this.
We're talking about the tearing up of the crime scene and everybody's wanting them to find the bullet. I mean, if the bullet hit any bone at all, there is no bullet. It's just fragmentation.
Great point.
And
that was discussed already.
And if there was no exit wound in the autopsy, though, there should be. I mean, if there was no exit wound, then there should be fragmentation of the bullet would have fragmented into who knows how many pieces.
The doctor.
Okay.
Wait, so he was about to say something. The doctor, what? What did he?
And again, this is not a non-disclosure violation, but the doctor came out there and told us. And then they also told chief of staff. So the bullet came in and hit the vertebra So it came in and then tore up everything in the wound cavity, hit the vertebra, crushed it, shattered it, turned, crushed the second one, turned, kept going down all the way. I think they said C6.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's like, why not put that info?
Well, okay, that's not necessarily, I'm not going to say it's untrue, but it's unlikely because that bullet would basically, yes, it can do catastrophic damage, but it would literally explode the neck. The neck would be, you know what I mean?
I don't know if I'm just like so corrupted at this point by our politicians and our different systems. But when I watch Shawn Ryan go, holy shit.
It sounds fake, right?
It's like Erika crying. It's like, I don't want to think these people are disingenuous, but my gut is like, something feels off.
Well, he looks like he's acting. He's just like, oh my good Lord.
Yeah, but how convenient that an ex-CIA contractor is now, I could say, helping the FBI narrative, right? Because if there's no bullet and it's fragmented and, like he said, now the bullet's fragmented into who knows how many pieces, right? He's basically saying, like, there's going to be no trace of this bullet. He's a trusted podcaster. People really like him. What a perfect outlet to do this interview and start dripping people with this new narrative that, yes, Charlie Kirk's bone was so thick that it not just stopped the bullet, but it shattered the bullet into a million pieces. And now we're not going to get any evidence of the bullet. You're not going to be able to match the gun to the bullet because his neck was so strong, it was like pouring concrete.
Right. And there was no, in this interview, the clips that I seen, I couldn't watch the whole thing because it was just so, I don't know. It was so ridiculous. It's really hard to sit there for a couple hours to watch it. But there were other points in it where it's like, isn't this, I think Candace called this out on her show, but he's basically saying that the rooftops were secure. I think it was the one with the text. But it's like, isn't he supposed to be responsible for securing this rooftop? And now he's just kind of passed the buck to UVU, essentially?
Yeah, so this is so hilarious. These are the text messages that Brian Harpole, the head of security, provided for Shawn Ryan, and they thought they were going to have like a gotcha moment here where they were going to be like, see, like, we did everything. Like, we went in, we asked Sheriff Long, and we said, like, the students told us someone was on the roof, and, like, we did our due diligence. So he shows this text message. Jeff Long is the head of police for UVU. He goes ahead and texts, which also, this is weird. Why would you quote text? I think that's kind of weird personally, but he quote texts the police and says, there is student roof access pretty close to where CK will be set up at Utah Valley. And then he says, you want access to the roof? And he responds, I told students they have access above us if this is true. I was told by students they have access above us if this is true. It would be nice to either way have it controlled access, allow one of my guys to be up there as well if possible. I got you covered.
So that, in essence, says that they got it. You guys don't need to worry about it.
So that's what he says. He's like, we reached out and they said, you got us covered. You got us covered, so we're done. And need I just remind everybody, this guy, Brian Harpole, is the head of Charlie Kirk's security. He's paid millions of dollars a year. And this assassination was 15 months after Butler, Pennsylvania, when Thomas Crooks climbed on a roof and tried to assassinate our president. If you're the head of security specifically for Charlie Kirk, one of the cornerstones in the Republican Party, someone who many would argue helped get President Trump elected, you are going to be doing an outside event, which UVU said, don't do that, do it inside the amphitheater so like we could secure all the areas. You're going to do an outside event. You know that past assassins have climbed on the roof and you're just going to be like, got you covered, and you're not going to check the roof? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I have to verify this fact, but I'm not sure how much experience that he even had before this. Somebody posted, I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm repeating it, so I guess there's a little bit. I saw on Twitter, did he used to work as like a car salesman or something before he got into security? I don't know, but it seems like he is kind of not taking responsibility for his fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, if you can, look that up in ChatGPT, what he did before, because I thought he was in law enforcement. And so either way, you could be a car salesman, you could be any job. And if you were living in the United States in July of 2024, you're going to want to secure the fucking roof.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Excuse my language. But it's just so ridiculous. Like, Thomas Crooks got up on the roof. You're just going to take someone's word for it. That's it. You're done. And then also, we don't even have this clip. I mean, we do, but I'd have to fast forward through. But just while you're looking that up, Shawn Ryan goes to him and he says, so do you know who George Zinn is? And Brian Harple goes, is he the guy that, and then Shawn Ryan's like, yeah, the guy that's like, okay.
No, he knew who he was. He knew perfectly well, because then he continued to go on and say, oh, that's the guy that was arrested for child pornography.
Then why wouldn't, if I was asked that question, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't even start a sentence with that. I would be like, oh yeah, I know all about George Zinn. He was born in Greece, adopted at 1.5 years from a Utah LDS family. He was in Model UN. You and I could spit his whole entire life. And yet he's saying, is he the guy that, you're the head of security? Yeah, he's the patsy. He's the guy that was arrested.
Yeah, so I just want to clear up. Okay, so he apparently has 14 years of experience in law enforcement.
Yeah, I would figure Charlie Kirk was a very smart guy. He wouldn't just hire a car salesman to make sure he doesn't get killed.
All right, see, that's a live fact check right there. 14 years of law enforcement, but apparently did not know that he should secure the rooftop in those situations. Also does not know. Oh, no, that's actually Shawn Ryan, the CIA contractor, Navy SEAL. Evidently does not know what a patsy is.
Is he a patsy?
What's a patsy? Well, let's see here.
All right,
Are you ready?
Let's watch this.
Is he a patsy?
What's a patsy? What's a patsy?
Okay.
I mean, okay, so here's, I posted that on Twitter. Some people were saying, no, he's asking that because his audience members might not know what that is. But I would say, I think he's faking. Obviously, I think he knows what a patsy is. He's just, I guess, feigning ignorance for some reason, right? Because if he wanted his audience to know, he would say, oh, just so everybody knows, what is a patsy, right? He would go with a different explanation thing. I think he's like now pretending that he's a dumbass or something.
No, it reminded me exactly of earlier this year when FBI Director James Comey posted the Seychelles 8647. Right?
Oh, yes.
And everybody was like, oh my God, the former FBI director is calling to take out President Trump. And then he's like, that's what 86 meant? We just happened to see the show design on the beach. And we walked by and we didn't know. Like, these people playing dumb is such an insult to the overall population intelligence.
No, it's I get sometimes why you would want to sort of have the interviewee explain stuff.
Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I ask you questions,
yeah.
On purpose because I think that there needs to be background or more clarity. But I wouldn't say, what's a patsy, James?
Yeah, this is like where, this is Tim Dillon made fun of this, but this is where Barry Weiss had that Mossad, head of Mossad on. She's like, so what is the Mossad? And I'm like, what are you doing?
I think what is the Mossad is actually a better question than what is a patsy.
That's a fair point because the Mossad is a complicated operational, agency with a lot of different layers to it. So so that's probably a better question, but
it'd be like, what is a duck? What's a duck?
Well, that's okay. So Tim Dillon, did you see that?
No.
So he played that Barry Weiss clip, and then he had this whole 10-minute thing where he was like, okay, so what is ice cream?
Oh, he did. Okay,
yeah.
That was my initial
reaction. He's like, what
too.
is ice cream? And then he brought in this I don't know if she actually worked at Dairy Queen. He's like, okay, so here is a person so-and-so works at Dairy Queen. Let's talk about what ice cream is. It's whatever it is. He does it better than I do. Okay, so what do we got here?
Okay, so this is a longer clip. I'm not sure exactly where we need to play it, but we'll start it and we'll see if he does it in the beginning. But Brian Harple on this interview talks about how there were no drones allowed on the campus because Shawn Ryan's like, why didn't you do?
But we literally saw drones. There's like footage of drones flying in the footage that we've seen from that day. People were like, oh, well, look at that thing. That's a drone.
Right. But he says that there aren't. So let's see if we can get him to say this in the first minute or two. And if not, then, I'll have to find it. But the interesting thing is that another TPUSA staffer had already previously said that they did put up drones. So now you have TPUSA caught in lies. Let's watch this.
Right, let's go.
Came in, we got it, and we never got anything that, no Mossad or nothing. That was never, not once.
Did anybody, I've interviewed a lot of war fighters. I'm a war fighter. A lot of times somebody on the team will have some type of a feeling or a premonition or, hey, we shouldn't be here right now, or something's about to happen. I don't have a good feeling about this. Did anybody on your team or Charlie, anybody express any concerns about that day?
On that day, for us personally, when you walk in and we talk about workup, right? So we start the back workup, and then we're a little different also as far as our guys don't just get to show up. The team goes out and we physically build all of our prevention model. So they don't show up and just see it. They physically build it, and we walk through it each other, and we make sure things are done right. And so our guys are pulling bike racks and putting them together, and they're putting tape up, and they're looking at places all around the bubble that our area of responsibility is. And so, they're looking around thinking, God, this is horrible. It's a beautiful amphitheater there at UVU, but, you're a tactician. If you're somewhere and you're covered from an elevated position from 180 degrees, it's horrible. Mm-hmm. And that's where we were. But that's come out. It's like, why would they have it there? This is ignorance. It's a security fail. And I'm like, well, one, that's where they told us we had to have it.
Okay, lie number one. We'll continue and get to the drone stuff, but he just said, well, that's where they told us we had to have it. UVU has come out and said that they actually went back and forth with TPUSA on numerous occasions and said that we recommend you have this indoors. So here's lie number one for Brian Harple, and this is a softball interview.
Well, that's why, if it's a softball interview, that's why they can get away with the lies. Because if you had a competent interviewer, if you had, let's say, an Ian Carroll in there, he would be like, wait a second. Didn't they say that we should not hold this outside? We should hold it indoors? That's what a journalist is supposed to do.
Yes.
Right? They're supposed to say, well, hang on a second.
It's just strange. So let's see if he says the drone thing now, or if we're just going to have to skip to the other footage. But
we weren't optioned out anywhere else. Mm-hmm. There's a permit you have to get, and the school says, nope, this is where you have to have it. We don't get to argue with them. We don't get to say, no, but.
Wait, pause. You definitely get to say, but, right? You're holding an event there. You can suggest different locations. Can we have it here? Can we have it here? It's not like the school says, okay, here's the only location. Boom. That's it.
Well, and also we know from
especially for an organization of this size that does campus tours as like the thing that they do, they would have some leverage. I can understand if I wanted to go there, they'd be like, sorry, this is the only place where you can do it. It's in this corner right here in this dungeon. Here, you want it or not?
Right. But also, we know that UVU allows but because their courtyard remodel that they started doing just a few days after the fact, they were giving design instructions. So this idea that everything is so locked in at UVU and pre-planned, well, that contradicts now the courtyard remodel. Do you want gray pavers or red pavers? Do you want the sod there or not? So which one is it? Is UVU so locked in, or are they, flexible? Because in these two situations, they're polar opposites.
Yeah.
Also, okay, continuing on.
This is where you put. This is where you have to do it. And then secondarily, Charlie liked it. It wasn't ticketing. You didn't have gates. Regular people showed up, and we had spoke to him about it before. And it's like, man, this is getting dangerous, And his response was, I know. And so it's like, but if you ticket it and you make people jump through hoops to come in or pay or go through magnetometers, and then the people with opposing views don't show up, and then there's no conversation.
That's bullshit. That's 100% bullshit. People with opposing views show up because they want a chance to debate Charlie Kirk. It doesn't matter.
100%.
They'll walk through a metal detector to debate. So what is this? And also, I think Candace was talking about this because she's been on a lot of these events, the tours in the past, and she said, no. There's always like ticketing. It's very normal to have gates and people with a QR code and things like that, so you know who is coming in. This is not a new thing where they're like, oh no, we don't want a ticket because we don't want a barrier to entry. We don't want to exclude other voices. This is ridiculous.
Also, this younger generation, and even our generation, grew up going to high school where a lot of people walked through metal detectors to literally go to class.
That's a good point. That is a good point. Yeah, that's like par for the course. So I don't know what he's going on about. I mean,
you walk through metal detectors at Disneyland. Like all of a sudden, this is like a reason people aren't. That's the life. That's the world that we live in today. It's ridiculous. Like it's so stupid. Okay, continuing on.
And when there's no conversation, there's more division. And his goal was to have less division through conversation. And so the easiest way to get that was to open it up. And that's not the first. I mean, UVU was an open air, but we did San Francisco where we had a street takeover and people trying to climb over fences, and our primary and secondary exfil got compromised, and so it was bad.
Wow.
And so we've had New Mexico where we had no law enforcement assistance, and that went not last year before, and we ended up physically just fighting our way out of there. And so it's like, we get it, the risk, but his response and his mentality was that this is worth it. We're making gains here.
In your coordination with UVU, I mean, did they offer any assistance, anything at all?
Yeah.
Did you ask them of anything?
Absolutely. So we come in and we start looking at things immediately, like, man, where are our risks? What's our risk assessment when we come in? That's why we get there. That's why we start doing the advance so early. We walk it, we build it ourselves. And so initially I spent thousands of dollars on drones last year and got the guy's license. But if the area lies in the Provo, Utah airspace, I can't fly it.
Okay.
There were drones. We saw drones.
Okay, also...
Whose drones were they?
Also, no one cares that you spent thousands of dollars. You're paid millions of dollars a year. Are we supposed to give you a medal?
Okay, yes. That is a good point as well, is that last year was the first year you guys were certified drone coverage, right? That was when you got into drones, which is insane.
I highly doubt that. Every single wedding since like 2016 has had drones for their videographers. You're telling me that there's no drone footage on any of the marketing or any of the stuff that is done? That is a lie. That is complete bullshit. But Dr. Frank Turek,
also, yeah, I'm just looking this up now. Provo, Utah does not have a ban on drones.
Yeah, they don't. And
Frank Turek. Okay, so you're gonna have to find.
It's at 4250.
4250. So this is okay. Frank Turek, by the way, just a little bit of background on Frank Turek. He's the guy who was doing the baseball signals. This is that guy.
He's the third base coach.
He's the third base coach. Okay, are you ready?
Okay, so this was filmed like right after.
Yeah.
When he was being accused of like.
This is before they got their story straight, or people, they're not. Why are they not meeting and saying, hey, this is going to be our story, let's do it. If we're going to do a cover-up, let's do a good one where all our stories match. Because here's my problem. Even, okay, let's say that Tyler Robinson did do it. Okay, let's start there. There's still like a magnitude of lies being told throughout this entire process that's been completely unnecessary. If he actually did it, why are you guys changing the stories every other day? What's happening here?
Right, because it's obvious that they are trying to cover something up, because if you don't lie, then everybody has the same story.
That's right. Or, I mean, there could be differences in terms of like eyewitness. Like I can believe
perspective.
Yes. I'd be like, oh, 1 gunshot, 2 gunshots. Those things I can handle because it makes sense. It's like in the moment, you don't really know what's happening. Like maybe you heard a reverb or something like that. That's totally understandable.
Yeah.
But to say like, how much blood was there? Was there blood on my hands or my shirt? That stuff is like, you should know whether.
There were drones. There were no drones.
Yeah.
UVU told us we had to have it outside. UVU saying, no, we told you to have it inside. Like, it's just too much, and it goes on and on. So let's see what Frank said really right after the assassination. I think this was in a week of the assassination.
And to the people who hate Charlie, to the people who are celebrating his murder, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. Maybe we'll do it for a future program. Charlie was doing this to reach out to you. Charlie was doing this to love you. You don't love people by enabling their continued rebellion against the God of the universe. You tell them the truth. Anyway, on our way in, we had drone footage.
Okay, there it is. On our way in, we had the drone footage. Whose drone footage? Maybe it wasn't Brian Harple's drone. Maybe he wasn't allowed to fly his drones.
I mean, it's just pathetic that they think that we're just going to buy this. And that also, like, are they not living in the internet era? You have to know that everything that you say is going to be out there in the public sphere. Even if you delete it, people screen record. Once it's out there, right?
Yeah, and then you have to say that you misspoke. Oh, there was the other thing about who Mikey McCoy was calling. Did he call his dad? Did he call Erika? Was he even on the phone at all? That was another lie. I broke that down in a video last week, right? Because Turning Point USA, Andrew Colvett coming out and saying, no, he wasn't even on the phone at all. So then
Erika on the Jesse Waters interview said Mikey called her immediately. Pastor Rob McCoy, his dad, said he called him immediately.
Blood on his shirt.
Well, he said, yes, his shirt, but that could be Charlie's shirt or his shirt. But another thing that Brian...
even if it was on Charlie's shirt, he wouldn't know because he walked away and never saw it.
Right. And another thing that Brian addresses is he talks about the wound care that he gave. And he said that he was applying pressure to Charlie Kirk's neck and it was squirting up to the point where he could taste Charlie's blood on his mouth. He says this in the Shawn Ryan podcast. And then people online show the video footage and they're like, there's no blood on you. There's no blood on your hands. So I didn't dig deep enough into this, but this is kind of like the car salesman thing. But I did watch a little footage and I couldn't see the blood. So if anybody in the chat
maybe the footage was grainy. I don't know. Maybe you could taste blood. I mean, I'm sure the amount of blood that's there, you probably would have at least a scent. You can probably smell that blood for sure. Just to, we don't have the clear footage because they won't release it.
Yes. So Candace Owens is day by day dissecting this case, and something that she's been really into is these Egyptian military planes. And first of all, I just want to go over the term Egyptian really quick with you.
Okay, what do you mean?
Because
Egyptian?
people are like, why is Egypt being brought into this all of a sudden? But I think it's important to note that when you look at different intelligence agencies that have been implicated in Charlie Kirk's murder, most people are talking about our intelligence and Mossad. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, I would say those are the primary culprits that are online that they're talking about this. And of course, you're making the point that Egypt or Israel has used Egyptian identity to do covert operations for the last 70 years, right? They have forged passports, they have cars that are with Egyptian license plates, or they have planes and all this stuff they can disguise as Egypt. Because I think it would be a little bit too on the nose. I mean, they wouldn't be a very good covert operations if they literally flew Israeli planes and had flags of, the Star of David going on. I think that would be a little bit too much.
So when Candace is saying Egyptian military planes, she is saying that, but almost in quotations, because if you know the history, like you just said, and I think there's examples, right, with a ship that they...
Well, the Lavon affair, this is when they tried to do a false flag, try to blame Egypt. It was actually found out, but they were disguised as Egyptians.
So there's just a lot of people that like I'll post a story and I'm like, I just say the Egyptian military planes and people are like, oh my gosh, Candace has lost it. Now Egypt is implied. And it's like, well, if you know the background, that's not really what she's saying, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I have heard other pushback on Candace's reporting, which, you do have to discern. Even if it's Candace Owens, I always say you have to scrutinize the source. What is she saying? You should do that for everybody, even if you like the person. And I think I saw a Steven Crowder, he was saying that Egyptian plane or whatever, this is completely normal. These are maintenance, flights to certain areas, Wichita or Delaware, wherever they're talking about. This is completely normal, and it's just sort of a coincidence. That's the other pushback.
Okay, so that was disproven on yesterday's episode. The maintenance in Delaware is actually tied to FBI addresses. So I actually have that clip. It's kind of long.
We probably don't want to play the whole thing, maybe just part of it.
But she gets this letter.
Oh, this is where she's going to read the letter for a really long time. Maybe we just skip to the last 2 minutes.
I think she starts off in the beginning saying that the Delaware location where everybody was saying, oh, the plane was just getting maintenanced, links back to the Secret Service, DEA, DOJ, FBI, and other agencies. We're talking the plane flies back specifically to the address 900 North King Street, Wilmington, Delaware. I think she says it in the very beginning of this.
So it is a federal resident office that is at that exact address. You can open it yourself in this link and look for a page titled 675. Okay? We did that. We confirmed that. Wilmington Resident Office, Suite 404, 1 Rodney Square. And so we can confirm this is, like he says, or she says, the Department of Justice's own directory list. Okay.
So when people are saying, oh, this is just a maintenance building, she basically got an inside tip saying, no, this wasn't maintenance, because you don't do maintenance at these federal buildings.
And the point here is that the FBI should be doing this. Like you know what I'm saying? Like Kash Patel, was it last week? There was another person, I think Joe Kent, who is the deputy counterintelligence person under Tulsi Gabbard, and he was wanting to look into these potential foreign.
Oh, he was.
Yes, and Kash Patel shut it down.
Of course he did.
Yeah, he literally. This is reporting. They had a meeting with Trump and Pam Bondi in the White House. They said, we got to shut this down.
Wow. And that's basically what Candace implied yesterday on her show, is that she thinks that Kash Patel is shutting all of this stuff down. I was turning on my heater because it's freezing in the studio. It's shutting all of this stuff down because he had some involvement. Because in this letter that she's reading, it's a very long letter. We're not going to go through the whole entire clip. But this person that's giving this tip is saying, look, any foreign military plane is not just allowed to land at any airport in the United States. They have to get national clearance. So our agencies knew every single time these Egyptian military planes landed and took off at every single airport in the United States, because as a foreign military plane, you have to get that clearance.
Yes. And the truth is that it's really difficult to find any ties to foreign ops if you don't look for it. Because a lot of people right now are saying you don't have any evidence in any of your theories that you're talking about. And I would push back and say, right, because the people who are supposed to be tasked with looking for evidence, they don't want to do it for whatever reason.
No, they're like, don't sue my girlfriend, or don't call my girlfriend a honeypot.
Yeah, they've gotten a lot of this is because this is an aside, but I was interviewing Elijah Schaefer, who is the latest victim of Alexis Wilkins' lawsuit spree.
Yes. Oh yeah, this is crazy.
Post-tweeting, and so it was for a Breaking Point segment. It was supposed to be for a Breaking Point segment, but they actually said that their lawyers, the Breaking Point's lawyers, reviewed the interview and said they can't run it because it's potentially defamatory for whatever reason. And it was an interview just asking about what happened. Did he what did he mean by that tweet that he sent, things like that. So I don't know. I think there's a chilling effect for sure in terms of the First Amendment when it comes to these lawsuits. Because even you have to remember, even if you didn't defame the person, even though you're perfectly legal to do and say what you did, it still takes an enormous amount of resources for most people to fight this. So like, I haven't been sued yet, but if I did, it would be a kind of a headache, because then I would have to scramble together a legal team and try to see what the best avenue here is to either get it dismissed because it's stupid, or it's like, okay, maybe we'll go to discovery. Maybe maybe somebody will want to take this case on. I don't know, but it's a whole thing. Basically, you have to like put your life on hold to try to fight this lawsuit.
100%. And didn't you tell me that out of all the stories that you have done and submitted to Breaking Points as an independent journalist that works for them, this is the first time ever that they have said you can't run it?
Yes. That is.
I mean, that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me.
And I get it. It's like you want to protect your news organization.
Of course.
And I didn't push back on it. I'm like, okay, no, totally understand.
Of course.
It's your platform. You're allowing me to, post on there and contribute stories. So if you don't want to run the story, that's what an editorial board is at, let's say, the New York Times, is that they do this all the time, right? You can't run the story, this and that, right? It took them forever to do a story about Harvey Weinstein or Epstein, all these things. I understand this. So it's your organization. So I'm just saying it's a little bit disconcerting that it's happening.
Well, yeah, and the two examples that you gave, Epstein and Harvey Weinstein, for not running stories, like, I don't know if like Alexis Wilkins wants to be in that category, but apparently she's put herself there. But back to the planes, there's a few things here that I just want to get through quickly. Candace, had been tracking the planes and had found that there were 22 instances where these two Egyptian military planes, she says, were tracking Charlie Kirk. And a viewer, because of course, Candace Owens is like, she's leading the way, but she has a sea of, internet sleuths doing all of this digging for her, and they're actually giving reliable tips. And so this individual reached out to her and said, you are tracking Charlie's path with these planes, but when you look at Erika's path with these planes, the number goes from 22 to 77.
Right. My question is, because I haven't watched all of these episodes, because she's on a roll right now.
Yeah.
But did she ever talk about how they know where Erika and Charlie is?
These are just moments where they do know where she is or where Charlie was, based on print or social media posts or whatever it may be. So there could be even more instances.
Interesting. Okay, so this is when they're basically doing public events.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's over the last, I think, since 2022, so for 3 years. And, Candace has really not brought up Erika, and it's interesting because she keeps saying the planes were tracking Erika, which to me implies that Erika is like a victim of these military planes, but that many times, I have to wonder if we're using the wrong language by saying tracking. How do we not know that these planes are like supporting Erika Kirk? And again, like, I'm not trying to go after a widow.
They're speaking of defamation, you're basically saying
I'm saying like one could wonder.
Right, and you're wondering aloud right now whether or not Erika Kirk is somehow tied
I'm just saying it is very odd that these planes, which Candace put all this out here, I'm just repeating what's out there. I just think it's interesting that she's using the word tracking, because I think it implies something when we have no idea Erika's involvement with these planes at all.
Right, and it really is, this is where, once again, I'll say it, this is where the people who are supposed to fight crime are supposed to go look after this.
Right.
To look at this and say, what is this Egyptian plane, right? They should have... Is this like who was on the plane? These kinds of things they should maybe capture. Maybe they are. I don't think they are, because Kash Patel shut it down. But they should know who's getting on that plane, who's getting off that plane, everything like that.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, like, if they are tracking Erika for 3 years on 72 or 77 flights, that's scary, right? That's insane. But you have to ask, why would they be tracking a trad wife and not the current CEO and president and founder of TPUSA? Who was assassinated.
And they could be tracking for a number of different reasons, right? There's a lot of, when you're a public figure of that status, there's a lot of people.
But Erika really wasn't. Well, that's my point. She was a trad wife. She was not yet the CEO.
No, she was not the CEO, but she
was Miss Arizona.
Charlie Kirk's wife, and she had her own podcast on TPUSA. It's not, I don't know how many people are listening to it, but she was definitely a public figure. She was out there doing media. So she's definitely a public figure.
It's just odd to me that she was the one being tracked.
Well, we don't know that that is the alleged
allegation, according to Candace.
Alleged.
So anyways, Candace puts out these 4 license plates and these 4 rental cars. She discovers that when the Egyptian military planes land in Salt Lake City airport, they have these 4 rental cars waiting for them. Now, I just want to say, when you fly private, there are rental car companies and programs where they do contactless pickup for rental cars. So you arrive, you go to your car, the keys are in there. And so no one had to check them in. This isn't an Avis or like a Hertz situation, right? So these 4 rental cars are waiting at Salt Lake City Airport, are tied to these Egyptian military planes. And Candace says, like, let us know if anybody's individual footage, anybody that was at UVU caught on camera one of these license plates. So she puts that out there. Oh, sorry, I don't know if you want to show the screen. So she puts that out there, and next thing you know, there's a hit. One of the license plate, the CWN N872 license plate, it's an Arizona license plate. It was on this white Camry, was found 1.2 miles from UVU campus 25 minutes before the shots rang out. The only problem is that it was not on the white Camry. The license plate was pinged on the DOT camera, but it was found on a black Tahoe. And so
do we have a footage or video footage or photo that it was a black Tahoe? Because this I've seen this.
Yes. So there is no footage. Project Constitution reported this.
Because this is just a black Tahoe.
Right. But what's interesting is there was a black Tahoe caught on the Ring cameras following Tyler through the neighborhood.
But how do we know that the license plate was switched?
So we don't know that the license plate was switched. So it's either one of 2 things.
Oh, we don't know the license plate was switched.
No,
didn't we just say the license plate was switched?
No, I haven't said that yet. I'm saying that one of 2 things happened with this license plate ending up on the black Tahoe. One, it was a false hit, and Project Constitution reported this falsely, or the license plate was switched from that white Camry to a black Tahoe. And it's important to note, anybody can Google this, that is a common practice of CIA and different intelligence operations. And this is publicly, widely known and documented that intelligence agencies use rental cars for operatives, and they switch out plates because it makes it harder for people to track their agents. So
sure, totally. You see this happen all the time. Swapping plates is a very easy thing. So I guess at this point, we don't know for sure if the plate was swapped.
We don't know for sure. And I did this story, and you kindly reposted it, the legendary James Lee.
Well, I did repost because in the story you said that the plate was swapped.
I said it appears the plate has been swapped.
But we don't actually. Okay.
No, this is all according to, Project Constitution's info. And shortly after that video started going viral, DOT camera footage from Charlie Kirk's assassination date, September 10th, was shut down.
What footage?
The cameras, the DOT cameras. So anyways, that's just very, very weird.
Okay, yeah.
But just the update of what's going on, and,
So where are we at right now? We're at, there's a lot of lies going on. There's, potentially information that we just don't know yet with these, because we don't really know where the story leads, right? Because Candace is talking about these Egyptian planes and these rental cars. We don't really know if there's a connection at all. She's just saying these things are happening at around the same time period. There's no theory behind necessarily what function they're serving. Are they escorting people? Are they tracking people? Are they supporting people? Like you said, we don't really know that information.
Well, we know that they had tracked Erika Kirk on 72 or 77 other occasions.
Well, we don't know that they're tracking Erika Kirk. We just know that these are
They went to where
Matching
Erika Kirk
up.
went on 77 occasions. So, you know, if you ask ChatGPT, it's like less than a 0.000001% chance.
Right, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here for a second.
The audience loves when you do that.
I'm just saying, because we haven't actually seen, because like she's showing a spreadsheet, but we don't really know for sure, like, what do they consider a match? Is it at an airport that is the same airport? What's the time frame of these matches? We don't know the criteria in which they're defining a match.
Right. True. No, it's very true, and it's all circumstantial. But I think that little by little, the public and other independent journalists are continuing to chip away at this, and more things are coming to light. Like,
Totally.
Like the Salt Lake City KUTV Channel 2's grandma request being denied, saying, sorry, the surveillance is deleted after 30 days like they're a 7-Eleven.
Yeah, so that's the part where I am fully on board, is that regardless of the rabbit hole that Candace is chasing down, which is interesting, the other side is that there's just documented lie after lie after lie from TPUSA, everybody associated with it, just contradictions with the police report, contradictions with the affidavit, contradictions with each other. Those things don't lead to a lot of public confidence in the official story, is all I'm going to say.
And speaking of public confidence in official stories, let's talk about the Epstein files.
The story that keeps giving is the Epstein files, because now
the story that keeps giving, the story that never gives.
That's that is a good point. The story that never gives, because we think we're about to get it. Right now, we're at this point where, wow, look at this, near unanimous vote.
Yes.
To release the Epstein files. There's one guy that didn't want to do it, Clay Higgins, from Louisiana, there's an interesting, actually, this is kind of an aside before we get going, but can you play E11? This is Clay Higgins, where he was just confronted why he did not vote for the Epstein files. Let's see what this is going on here.
You're out. You're out. Aren't you a congressperson? Get off me.
Someone video this. Get this on video.
Get off me.
Get this on video. This is
the guy in the black.
Yes.
Get off me.
This is assault.
What are you trying to do, Clay Higgins? You're a U.S. congressman touching a person. You can't get him off the street. Get off him.
Let go of him.
Let him loose. Let him loose. You calm down. You need to calm down.
Calm down, sir.
Wait, is that no? That's not Clay Higgins. Is that a security guard? Let me see. Google what Clay Higgins looks like real quick.
No, I think that is him.
Is that
him?
him?
I know what he looks like.
Is that Clay? If that's Clay Higgins, that is insane. Just do a quick. Let's see what Clay Higgins looks like.
I mean, I've seen him, so it's.
I mean, that looks.
Yeah.
that looks like Clay Higgins.
So, I mean, I'm also watching The Beast in Me on Netflix, and he kind of looks like the dad a little bit. It's a really creepy show. I don't know if anybody's watching. You can say in the chat. It's with Claire Danes. It's like crazy. But yeah, that.
But anyways,
that
okay.
does
So
look like him.
a near unanimous passing. The House passed it 427-1. The Senate. 100%. They all voted for it. And I saw a hilarious video that I shared the other day, is that, okay, when you go 100%, that's a bit too much, because especially considering that everybody was against it. Like Trump was against it. There was a bunch of people saying, no, we can't release it. This is a hoax, all this. And then all of a sudden 100% passes, or passes with 100%. And this guy was like, when you cheat on a test, you don't give yourself 100%. That's like,
Right.
You got to have some people vote against it, especially people who said, I am not going to vote for this for whatever reason. All of a sudden, oh, now it's unanimous consent. And that leads you to wonder, okay, are they planning something behind the scenes to basically block the release of critical files that would maybe put some people in jail or get some people in trouble, or release or unveil maybe intelligence ties, this and that? Probably something is going on behind the scenes, because if you go to the element D11 here, this is text from the bill itself. It says that the Attorney General shall, subject to subsection B, make publicly available in a searchable and downloadable format all unclassified records, documents, communications, and investigative materials in possession of the DOJ and the FBI and U.S. Attorney's offices. So unclassified, that is a key word that obviously is going to be exploited to keep whatever it is that people want to know behind, a black line.
Oh my gosh.
The page that's like
The
fully
redacted.
redacted. The redacted, yes.
And it was also reported by Jeffrey Epstein's brother that he claimed that, if you want to show this, that the files are currently being sanitized to remove the names of high-ranking politicians before the release. Because I think Pam Bondi now said it's going to be like 30 days before. Like within 30 days, but 30 days is a long time. They can do a lot in that time.
Oh, totally. They're probably. I mean, they've already been working on it based on reports that have been coming out already. People are saying, "Oh, Trump is scrubbing this and that." I don't know exactly if it's true or not, but I think at the end of the day, there's got to be justice. You can't just have like, "Oh, we released some documents," right? There has to be accountability for some of these things that were allegedly done. And I want to play Massey's clip because I think it perfectly summarizes like what the success or what success means, what success looks like at the end of this process. Here we go.
Let's watch this.
Decades. That is wrong. Do not let the Senate muck this bill up. And if you're a party to that in the Senate, you are part of this cover-up that we are trying to expose. I am sorry if one of your billionaire donors is going to get embarrassed because he went to Rape Island. That is what they have coming. In fact, they need to be on the other side of bars, a lot of them. Some of them will be embarrassed, but some of them need to go to prison, and the survivors know that. So how will we know if this bill has been successful? We will know when there are men, rich men, in handcuffs being perp-walked to the jail. And until then, this is still a cover-up.
100%. Until we have people
Do not
going
let
to
the
jail.
Senate muck this bill up.
Until we have people go to jail, this is still a cover-up, right? If it's just, we have some releases, we have some unsavory emails, this and that, whatever. That's not the end of this. It's people need to go to jail.
Okay, so really quick, who do you think is going to go to jail? And then this is circulating online that newly released campaign finance records, if you want to click to this, show that from 1990 to 2018, Jeffrey Epstein directed about 89% of his political donations to Democratic and progressive causes, with notable individuals, recipients including Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, and Chuck Schumer.
Right. Okay, so what you're saying is that there's a lot of Democrats that are going to be implicated.
I don't know, but it seems that a narrative for that is kind of starting to come forward.
100. I mean, he was very close to the Democrats. He was also close to Republicans. Remember when we did the Epstein episode last week? There was the doll, the Hillary Clinton, Trump doll. There's the photo of George Bush and Bill Clinton. So he basically owns everybody. So to your question, who do I think is? I mean, we don't know who's going to go to jail, but one person that's looking very suspicious right now is Larry Summers, because he hadn't been previously identified in the Epstein files. I don't have a thing for this. But,
okay.
But Larry Summers used to be the Treasury Secretary for Bill Clinton, and he wasn't even tied. There was
and he's a Harvard professor, correct?
Yes. So in the last couple days, he has now stepped down from the board of OpenAI. He was on the board of OpenAI. He has stepped down, and then he's also stepped down, I believe, in terms of his leadership at Harvard University. And I saw this clip saying, I'm still going to continue with my teaching. And then a day later, he is now saying, I'm no longer going to be also teaching.
Have you seen that clip? I'll see if I can find it. But have you seen that clip where students are filming in his class?
Yes,
and he's
that's the one.
I'm apologizing for my involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Imagine being one of those students. Like, you go into class and your teacher's like, it was a bad idea to hang out with Jeffrey. Like, it's just wild.
But what I'm saying is, I think there's more to that than what he's leading on, because if you didn't do anything wrong, even if you associated with Jeffrey Epstein, everybody did. I mean, like Noam Chomsky and Stephen Hawking were tied to him because of the sign. I don't know exactly what those stories are, but what I'm saying is, if there's nothing you did that was wrong, you wouldn't be like stepping down from every single position that you have.
let's not forget that last January, when court docs were released, Stephen Hawking was known to have a fetish of having little people write math equations on chalkboards.
Is that illegal? No.
I don't know if they were underage, but I'm just saying.
Like you could just become like an elementary school teacher. I mean, I don't want to say that should be a fetish that is held up as an okay thing to do, but like
where are you
children,
going with it? No.
children are writing math equations on chalkboards.
Oh my God!
On a normal situation.
Okay, I can't do this podcast.
This is a live show. But what I'm saying is that children write shit like math equations. That's not that bad. What I'm saying is I think Larry Summers has done something actually potentially illegal and could go to jail because he's trying to step down from all these positions, because when you do step down, there's less scrutiny. It's like, okay, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
If he continues on, there's going to be people who are pressing on and saying, okay, here's exactly, or there's going to be people looking into the files and say, okay, here's exactly what you're doing.
It's either that or he knows something, and he doesn't want to get Clinton's. Because
well, he's close to Bill and Hillary. I mean, served in their administration.
That's my point. So
you're saying he's afraid of being killed,
or just even being in the spotlight at all. Like he might be going into like hiding right now, even if he didn't have any wrongdoing.
Oh, you're saying that he's gonna not expose himself to the public, because even if you're teaching, somebody could come into that classroom and take you out. That's what you're saying.
Well, I wasn't, no, but
well, it sounded like that's what you were saying.
No, I just think that, when you have all these high profile positions, you could be even asked questions on the street going into class, like not even taken out, but that obviously too. But even if he himself did not do illegal things, if Bill Clinton did, he might have knowledge of that, right? So he's like getting away from it, potentially. Either way, he's a small fish.
He's a pretty important dude.
He's not a Bill Clinton. He is not a Bill Gates. He is not a Donald Trump.
So that's what I'm saying.
He is not one of these big people.
I don't think Bill Gates is going to go to jail, is what I'm saying.
Don't crush my brains.
So because you're asking who do I think is going to, it's going to be some guy like Larry Summers, who's like decently sized fish. People know of him in general. He's been in some high profile positions, but he's small enough to say, all right, we're going to fry this guy. This is the guy.
A fish fry, you could say.
You know what I'm saying? I think he's at that level that's perfect to take down.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because I don't think that's going to be good enough for the public.
You think you'll need Bill?
One
or two of the Bills.
I think you're going to need somebody big. And it doesn't even need to be a political figure, right? It could be, one of these celebrities that was flying all over the place with him. But the public is going to want somebody else, right?
I mean, the public wants a lot. What I'm saying is,
I'm not saying they're going to get anybody,
right?
But if you want them satisfied.
And I think Larry Summers is probably as good as it's going to get.
It's just too early, right? Like the list, whatever's coming out, hasn't yet. We have 30 days. So you're starting to see people scramble. I think we're going to see a lot more of that. And I think we have to pay close attention to those public figures' every moves.
We do.
Remember, because in January, when the court docs were released, do you remember Bill and Hillary went on a South American vacation?
I don't remember that.
Yes, they immediately took a private plane. They basically got out of the country. Somebody in the chat can look this up and let me know. I can't remember what South American country it was, but they were staying at the Four Seasons. They were golfing. Bill was golfing, and they just like got out of Dodge. And I think we're gonna want to pay attention to that type of behavior.
People are fleeing to Israel, is that which is one of the places. I'm just pointing that out. This is a completely true statement. That this is one of the places where you can go to escape pedophilia charges,
which is disgusting. And like I don't know why we don't have a problem with that.
Right. I believe this is a stat that somebody told me. I need to look it up to re-verify, but evidently it has one of the highest or the highest pedophiles per capita.
So speaking of that, there's a lot of
You're like, let's move on.
No, there's a lot of conspiracy theories about Tom Hanks' involvement with
Tom
this.
Hanks. Okay, so what's that all about?
Well, there's just, you'll have to look it up. It's too deep of a rabbit hole to go into. But also last January when these court docs came out, everybody was saying, he ended up going to Israel. And he was seen in Israel. And so people were like...
Well, everybody's going. We didn't even talk about the Rob McCoy. He's in Israel, right, as well?
Yes.
We skipped over that. But he is... Rob McCoy, somehow, Christian pastor, feels the need to go to Israel.
It's not just Christian pastor. It's the Turning Point USA, America's pastor.
I love Israel. This is my 25th, 26th time. I've lost count.
26 times.
Every time I come, there's a new site that's been excavated and protected. I want to thank the nation of Israel for protecting our holy sites. I want to thank the nation of Israel for giving us the freedom to come and worship here. I stand with you. I love you. And it's an honor to be with you. And if I may have the privilege to pray for you, would you mind?
This is awkward.
Yes? No? Okay. Just say yes if you'll let me pray for you. All right. Lord, thank you for this precious audience who's gathered tonight. We thank you for those who are tuning in online. And God,
So, yeah. Explain. What is this where they are needing to just, after every single thing that happens that's controversial, they need to go there for some reason, right? Eric Adams, right, of New York, his mayoralty is coming to an end, and he feels the need to also go over there and just say, oh yes, it was a pleasure and it was an honor to serve Israel.
Yeah, it's crazy, but where did it go? But I just have to say, does anybody else feel like Pastor Rob McCoy gives Eli Gemstone vibes from Righteous Gemstones? Like, they look the same, they kind of talk the same. It does feel a little bit like a movie, no?
It definitely feels like a movie. I would say the Righteous Gemstones are the good guys. I'm not sure if Rob McCoy is a good guy. I don't know if he's, you talk about team good and team evil.
Yes.
Where do you think Rob McCoy lies, at least for you?
The waters are muddied, but I do think it's weird that in 2022 he was promoting that he was going to have the founder, Lieutenant General Jerry Boykin, at the Sunday service. So I think that's strange. Watch this.
That's a beautiful area. It's time for a walk. Oh, you know what? This Sunday we got Lieutenant General Jerry Boykin. He's coming to speak. The guy started Delta Force. That's just pretty remarkable. So you're certainly gonna want to come this Sunday. In the meantime, I got movement to do. God bless you guys.
Okay. I don't know about anybody else that's watching. I'm a Christian. I'm not going to be moved to go to Sunday sermon because a lieutenant general is speaking.
Why would you even want to hear that? And is that what do you think is going on there? Is he kind of telegraphing, or because the implication here is that he's tied to a military operation, right?
Rob McCoy? Well, I think Rob McCoy has a background in psychological, look this up. I think he did psychological warfare for the army or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that right? Rob McCoy, we have to verify if that's true or not.
Are you looking it up?
I am, but I didn't find anything in Google right off the bat. But Google is not the place to search anymore, to be honest, because it gives you 7 ads for Rob McCoy. And then, let's see, what does it say here?
Oh, it was his father. That's right.
Okay.
His father, Rob McCoy's father, was a naval officer. And Candace talks about this. His dad had a background in both military and medical fields as the Navy Reserve Corpsman and Air Force Reserve flight surgeon. There's more here. I just can't remember what it is.
So, yeah, you can't be, there's no guilt by association. Just because your father was something doesn't mean that you're also something.
Right.
just to point that out.
No, I agree.
But this guy's sketch as fuck.
But that doesn't mean that you wouldn't necessarily learn things from your parents that had those positions.
Right. Because so that's what people say about
It's
Tucker Carlson. He's a CIA or he's a Fed, whatever, because his dad was in the CIA. You learn stuff.
For sure. Or even like if you go to like Tiger Woods, right? It's like, look at his son. Charlie Woods is like a prodigy. And it's because when you grow up in a craft by experts, then of course you like pick it up, right?
Totally.
So, anyways, that could apply to anybody. But yeah, Pastor Rob McCoy is deleting his sermons.
That was crazy. The Baron Coleman podcast, he was the one that did all the Google searches in the beginning.
Yeah.
And now he's, I think he's down this rabbit hole as well, which a lot of people are. But he was calling out Rob McCoy, and he was referencing one of his sermons where he said something interesting. I didn't see what that was because it was deleted. But midstream, the video was taken off of YouTube, which is insane. And then Ian Carroll was doing a playback of that. And then his stream, I don't know if you saw that clip where his stream was like botted, where he had like a bot attack. You could see like the comments coming in. It was crazy. Yes.
I didn't watch that. I had seen that like he had posted something, but I just thought it was him reacting to Pastor Rob McCoy's video getting taken down. I didn't realize that he was like...
Well, at the same time, as he was talking about it, his Twitch stream, I think he was on Twitch, it was getting attacked.
Gosh. So I don't even know what that would be like, but...
Well, let's check our comment. I mean, we're small potatoes still. We're doing okay. We're doing okay.
Exactly.
But so anyways, on the Epstein thing, I think there's a lot more that needs to be done here because of this whole new national security. Everybody voted for it. It seems like a cover-up is now taking place, that they're going to try to prevent the most pertinent information to come out. My question is, what's going to satisfy the public? Because this will end when the public is satisfied.
Do you also think about the timing of this? Like, the Charlie Kirk assassination was 10, 11 weeks ago, and the intelligence agencies have really done nothing. It's Candace Intelligence Agency. People are slowly finding out things and posting it all over, even if it's just little pieces of the puzzle. Like you were saying, we don't really have, nobody's cracking the case, but like, sooner or later you get enough puzzle pieces, like you can paint the picture, right? And also I think there's enough at this point that maybe a jury wouldn't convict Tyler Robinson. So it is kind of odd that all of a sudden during the height of the Charlie Kirk assassination, the Epstein files are now being released. And so I have to wonder, is this on purpose?
Well, so I think the Epstein files are used as a political football all the time.
Yeah.
In this situation, I know that Massey and Ro Khanna have been working on this legislation since before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So this has been a process for them to try to get them to pass it.
But Donald Trump wasn't behind it all year until now.
Well, Donald Trump was not behind it, I think, until he realized there was no way to stop it. He would look really bad if he were to be defeated, right? Because if he continued to say, no, I don't support this bill, and it passes with that many votes, he would lose his mandate. He would not be the leader of the Republican Party. So it looked a little bit better for him to say, okay, never mind, I do endorse this after all. In terms of the time, there was that drop that happened last week, right? 20,000 files from the Epstein estate.
Yeah.
I think that was from the House Oversight Committee. And I think the Democrats there wanted to drop it because they had a really bad fallout from the government shutdown. That was my theory behind it, is that, okay, we can't get people to stop talking about how pathetic we are. So let's release a few files here that make Trump look like, because the files, they weren't good for Trump, but there wasn't anything in there that was like illegal.
No.
It was just like, yes, he partied. We already knew this. Like he had pictures with bikinis, because he was like,
self-proclaimed like womanizer, on
so,
Howard Stern, the most interviewed Howard Stern guest. Literally, he was. So and that was his show. Howard Stern's show was all about that.
So was it Charlie Kirk that drove it? I'm not sure. I think there was a lot of other things that people I mean, like, the people were really mad at the Democrats. I think they're like, oh, we got to put this out. And then Trump, I think it was just political expediency. He was left with basically no option. I was watching some coverage from Breaking Points, and Sagar was saying that he's never seen Trump so defeated, in a sense, where he was not able to command the party to do what he wanted. Because before, it would have been like, this is a hoax, and then everybody shuts up. It's done.
Right. And partially it's his fault because he ran on exposing these files and then bait and switch. So he had to,
And maybe that was a miscalculation that the Epstein binder thing didn't do what it was supposed to do. If you remember that, like, because they did try to. It's like, okay, within the first 2 weeks, here we go, Epstein files.
You know what's funny is everybody's like, how ridiculous those binders were and da-da-da. But, like, at the time, I was like, man, I wish I got a binder.
You want to buy? No, you don't.
I know that's embarrassing, but at the time, I was like, what are in the binders? Like, why? I want a binder, you know?
But the people who knew everything in those binders had already been previously
No, I know.
released.
Of course, it came out as
and
that.
Also, now the binder photos is like a walk of shame. At this
Of course.
You don't want to be.
I'm embarrassed to admit that, but I'm just being honest. Like, at the time, and now I'm like, oh, the binders. But, like, at the time, I was like, I want a binder.
Yeah, because now I see every time one of those people posts something on Twitter, there's always somebody in the comment section posting them with a binder.
No, I know. Thank God I didn't get one, but I just had to, like, this was like, I am Dani and I, have to admit this. I did want one.
No, thank you for the disclosure. Yes.
Yes.
We can all admit, and that is one of the things that people need to know, that, like, something that is maybe even more powerful than money a lot of times for people like us that talk and dig into stuff, journalists or influencers and things like that, is like that access is even more lucrative sometimes. They just want to be in that room to feel cool. That's not me. Like, I don't want to be anywhere near.
No. Well, no, but, at the time it was, early into Trump's second term. And there was a lot of hope for that, right? He wasn't saying this is a Democrat hoax. He was saying, like, we're going to slowly bring this out time by time. Obviously, pretty soon after people got the binders and were revealing what was in the binders, we were like, oh, it's nothing. This was a PR stunt. But very early on, I was looking at some of those people and I'm like, I'm trustworthy. Like, I should be getting this information, But now I'm grateful.
Yeah, you don't want to be, if you get invited, I feel like if you get invited to that stuff, that basically means at that point you are state propaganda, right? If they invite you to the White House and they give you the talking points that they want you to say, now you're acting as like an apparatus of the state.
Well, and that's exactly why I was questioning.
That's no different than the Soviet Union and all these, CCP in China, right? The media outlets, like, you're allowed in because they want you to say exactly what they want you to say.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I was kind of, questioning with Shawn Ryan's interview of Brian Harple, is it felt like the binders.
Yeah.
It felt like it was state media, because he never once asks the question or says, hey, I was a sniper. I think you and I both know, with 15 years, 30 years combined experience with these types of guns, do you really believe it was a 30-06?
No, instead he just goes, wow.
And he goes, fragmented into who knows how many pieces. So that's why I asked that question. Mm-hmm. It's not that I'm just like, Trump. I like the guy. I've liked a lot of his interviews. But when I see obvious questions not being asked, right? If it was just the patsy thing, what's a patsy? That would be it. I would be like, oh, who cares?
But
right?
if everything combined in that interview, then it's like, okay, this whole thing is like a charade. You're acting. You're not really being genuine in that interview. You're not really doing what you're supposed to do.
And that's what the Charlie Kirk investigation feels like, a big charade. So it's just another piece of this big. This is why people don't think that, Tyler Robinson exists or Lance Twiggs exists, or that some people believe Charlie Kirk's still alive.
Right. And speaking, okay, so this is now into a different topic, but they seem to want to, like, pin things on one person instead of like a systemic failure or like an institutional corruption or conspiracy type of thing.
It was Larry Summers.
It's always one. Yeah, exactly. It's just one guy. And so I want you to pull up this. This is a a follow-up on the California Palisades fire, which is okay. So scroll down here real quick to this guy. So this is who they are saying started the fire in the Palisades, okay? And they're referencing that they have all this evidence that they collected from his digital devices, and he was generating images on ChatGPT of burning cities, and he is the one, because they're saying that he started a fire in the Pacific Palisades on New Year's Day, and that blaze eventually turned into one of the most destructive fires in LA history, causing death and widespread destruction. Okay, so he's saying that, or this is the official arrest, they're saying that he started a fire on New Year's Day, and then 6 days later, it turned into a huge inferno.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what they're saying. Okay, I'm going to keep going here for a second before
Please.
Because then if you go to the next element here.
I just got rid of our notes on accident. It's okay.
Yeah, that's all right. We can figure that out. So you just go to Google Drive.
Yes,
here.
no, I got it.
I feel like I'm teaching. All right, here we go. You got to scroll over to November 20th on the tabs.
Okay, we're back, ladies and
We're back.
gentlemen.
All right, so
that was scary. That was like back in the day when we were like in 4th grade and you'd be writing an essay on a computer.
You deleted the whole thing.
And you delete, you'd be like, no! Before autosave on Microsoft. Remember those days?
Yeah, before it was, it was, you forget to save, you're writing the whole thing.
Which I did all the time. Like, I didn't want to write it. It would take me days to get to write it. And then I'd finally do it and I'd have a page. And then I'd accidentally delete it. And I'd be like, no.
Okay, so here's the next part here. If you rewind that video. Here is the LA deputy fire chief explaining what happened with that fire.
Okay.
I'll just close the loop really fast on the fire on New Year's Eve. I was not there. I was out of town. However, when that fire broke up, I got myself and my deputy chief were up on the phone talking to each other and talking to the incident commander. I can tell you those people on that fire ground were highly qualified and well trusted. They also did what they called a cold trailing operation well into the next day. We kept a patrol well over 36 hours. We kept the hose line on the hill. We kept it plumbed just to go back and continue to patrol. That fire was dead out. If it is determined that was the cause, it would be a phenomenon.
Okay, so that fire, he's saying, was dead out.
I'll just close the loop really fast on the...
And if it did cause the huge fire in the Palisades, that would be a phenomenon. Okay, so once again, they're saying there would be a miracle, right? These kinds of miracle bullets, just to tie it back to the Charlie Kirk and all this weird assassination stuff. It's like they're asking us literally to believe that things happen in a way where it's just out of this world is the story that they're telling us, right? Because now they're saying that guy is responsible for it. But he's right after the fire started, the deputy fire chief was like, if that is the case, this would be an absolute miracle.
Yeah, and I feel like back in the day, not even that long ago, 10, 15 years before social media really caught on, you could do that. And the different systems that we live in had been doing that, and they'd gotten away with it forever. I've been wondering, why the narrative for the Charlie Kirk and all these different things is so bad. And something that I thought of recently was, I wonder if, back in the 60s, for example, with JFK, sorry, this is a side note, but people were having kids at 18. And so they would, be like the CIA director at 40 and their kid would be 20. They'd be much closer in age. So they would kind of have the mentality of oh, I know what my kid's generation is thinking. Now people are having kids so much older. Are they just so far detached from what lies are going to work now? And it's easier to catch on?
I don't know if that's what I would say. That is a potential theory that people are more connected. But I just think it's probably to do with the the distribution of information
Yes,
was so
I'm sure.
controlled back in the days, right? You had 3 news outlets in 1963, right?
True.
And so you get to control the narrative. And even if somebody had a thought in their brain that said, hey, that doesn't sound right, there's no way for them to explain that to other people. You can maybe explain it to, your family members or whatever.
Yeah, but then you'd be a weirdo,
You'd
right?
just be a weirdo. You couldn't get
black
that
sheep.
Exactly. So you couldn't get that information out. But now in this situation, we now know that a cover-up has occurred because Spencer Pratt has been all over this. The husband of Heidi Montag, celebrity,
Yes.
reality celebrity, but he's been all over this in terms of trying to figure out exactly what happened. His house burned down, so I can understand he's personally invested in this case. But now he has, whistleblowers and all this stuff, and now he's exposed this massive cover-up within the LA Fire Department. Karen Bass, Gavin Newsom, everybody is in on it. So let's take a look at this clip here that he basically explains what happened.
Okay.
That's right. A new whistleblower has reached out to inform me that days after the January 1st Lockman fire, this firefighter was well aware that Gavin Newsom State Park was still smoldering and that there was a red flag wind advisory. He called the chief to be like, hey, we got to go back. We cannot leave the frickin' state park like this. He was ignored. Here's where the story gets really good. This firefighter was all set to speak to the congressional investigators anonymously, confidential, backed out of it because they've made clear, the leadership at the LAFD, that if anyone from the fire department tells the truth about the Palisades fire, they're going to get fired. They're going to lose their pension. The LAFD is actively covering up 12 people burning alive and 7,000 structures burning to the ground. But guess what? Bad news for you, LAFD leadership. You're all going to get exposed. So good luck.
Yes. So he's essentially saying that this is a story that completely contradicts the deputy fire chief in that he was saying that, oh, no, we had this whole thing covered here. No worries. But now they're saying they wanted to have people deployed there. They're saying they couldn't. And this is, if you scroll down here, you're right there. It says, now the plaintiff lawyers are claiming that a state park official who arrived at the scene of the fire on January 1st directly interfered with the LAFD's mop-up operation. So this is where the state comes into play, where Gavin Newsom might be involved here. And this is the LA Times, by the way. So Alexander Trey Robertson, one of the attorneys who filed the complaint against the state, told the Times that a fire official up on the Lockman burn scar January 1st claimed that a California State Parks representative told him that they, quote, couldn't bring a bulldozer in to cut a line around the fire and that they could not do a mop-up with their hand tools, dig up around any native plant species. So this is once again a situation where I get the environmental aspect of it, but they're saying, no, you can't do this because we have to save all these plants. And the irony here is obviously those plants are fucking gone now.
Right. And also, I'm trying to remember, but I'm pretty sure that Gavin Newsom had passed some law to save some like smelt fish. And that kept, no, I swear to God.
I know what you're talking about.
And it kept the water from being directed and filling the reservoirs.
Yeah.
And that also is why there wasn't water to put out the fires.
Yeah.
Again, the exact same thing you're talking about. I mean, it's ridiculous.
No, so this is obviously cover up because here's the deal now. They cannot just pin it on that one dude. Yes, he did start that January 1st fire, but that fire
And
was...
do we even know that for sure?
Well, that's what they say because of this ChatGPT images or whatever. Let's say they did
I mean, like, if you looked at the ChatGPT images that I create late at night when my brain's like thinking of all these crazy things, I could be arrested for a lot of different crimes.
But I'm just giving them the benefit of the doubt. I'm saying even if you say that he did start that fire, you have the LAFD saying we put that fire out.
Right.
And now they're saying, oh, no, just kidding. We didn't. It's because they didn't allow us to do it and this and that. And so the responsibility now of that fire falls on the LA Fire Department as well as the state of California because of negligence. Now they didn't properly put it out. I've talked to residents myself who lived right across the street. His house burned down. And he was saying that nobody was there to check on anything in those days. There was nobody up there in the hill, like doing whatever the scans or whatever that LA deputy was talking about. None of that was done, actually. Nobody was up there, and it just reignited. So now you're talking about the city of LA and the state of California now being responsible for tens of thousands of homes burning down. And this is different. So this is because people like to point out there was another fire, the Eden fires, right? That were in
Pasadena,
Altadena, that area. So that was caused by what is it called? SoCal Edison. So that was a power line falling down. There's video footage. Power line fell down, ignited, and then the wind picked up. It was massive. And so SoCal Edison is now getting sued.
Let's just clear this up. They were all caused by direct energy weapons.
Oh, you heard it here. Yes.
No, but I think it's important to make the distinction that the city and the state is responsible versus the firefighters, because just like you talked to some of the residents, I've talked to firefighters off the record that were doing their best to save homes, and they're very innocent in all of this. And I know from personal conversations that I have had that they felt helpless, they felt abandoned, they felt misdirected. And I think that you could get many firemen. It's difficult, right? Because it's like biting the hand that feeds you, right? But I bet there will be some firemen that come forward that would support Spencer or other residents' claims that there
Spencer
was negligence.
Was just talking about that. He was saying that he has whistleblowers, but they're getting threatened, saying they're going to lose their pension.
That's what I mean, exactly. And
right, because I do all this stuff. The stories that we talk about, at least for me, speaking for myself, I never blame the people on the ground because it's oftentimes not their fault. They're just doing their jobs.
No, 100%.
They're doing what they're supposed to do. If your supervisor comes and says you can't do this, you can't do it, especially in a firefighting situation where it's so hierarchical, right? You're not supposed to go against your superiors and say, no, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. No, there's a chain of command that happens here. So we don't blame those people. Now, what we blame here are people in power who are now threatening those people, and they can't even tell the truth, right? Not only do they want to help, now that they can't help.
Well, and it's like, even if you want to help, right? Like if I was one of those firemen, I would look at a couple incidences out of my industry in the past couple of years where I would go, you know what? Not worth it. I have kids. I have a family, whatever. Like the Boeing whistleblower. These people are getting 60-minute interviews. They're out in the public. They think they're safe. Boom.
Boom.
Suicided. Virginia Giuffre of Epstein, right? An Epstein victim, an Epstein survivor. She's out here. She's speaking of everything. You think that she would be safe because she's so public. Boom. She's gone, right? The Suchar
Balaji, yes. OpenAI Sam Altman, right?
Whistleblower.
Committed
suicide, supposedly. All these people. So it's like, even if you are a fireman, a lot of firemen, right? Like, they're family men, right? And so at what cost are you going to testify on record? At what cost? Because I don't think Gavin Newsom is a good guy.
No. I don't think that's a hot take, by the way.
Is it? I mean, he's
it's
out
not
here.
A hot take. I'm saying he's not a good guy.
No, and he's out here. Well, it's interesting because we live in California, so we don't think he's a good guy. But when you look at like the rest of the country, and if they would vote for him for president, they don't know. They think he's a good guy.
Right. They don't intimately know the shit that he's been doing here in California.
No, and now he's
homeless and everything else like that.
And now, right, which you have like a bunch of stuff with the homeless stuff coming out. And like, I'm so excited for all of your fans and people that don't even know you yet. You will know of James because he's putting together something really big with that. And now Gavin Newsom's out. I don't know if you've seen this. He's on like a press tour, obviously, because he's going to run for president. And he recently, I don't know who he was talking to, saying that, you know, he grew up like just a regular kid where he was just getting stacks of Wonder Bread. Did you see this?
Yes, I saw. What a fucking, like, I don't know. It's
Deceitful.
Such a blatant lie. Like, we have pictures of you with the Getty family.
Like, you're best friends with the Getty family. You're a prep school rich kid. Like, let's stop.
Yeah.
I would much rather him own it, right? Like, when Xi Jinping came to San Francisco and they miraculously cleaned up the city, that was the only time I've liked Gavin Newsom, because he did a press conference and he's like, yeah, you know, when you have guests coming to your home, you know, you clean it up.
Yeah.
And he basically was like, yeah, we got rid of all the needles. We moved all the homeless out for 10 days. Xi Jinping came. We gave him a good time. We water pressured the streets. And like, now it's going to go back to disarray. But I was like, wow, you're honest.
Yes.
But now he's gone back and he's like, yep, I'm a latchkey kid who, came home to my humble beginnings.
I feel like that's not even necessary. People don't want to hear that. Like, Trump was elected and he was like, I'm rich and this and that.
Because he said it.
Because he said it. Just say it.
It's honesty.
Just say it. But the whole theme of the Today Show, right? It's been cover up after cover up after cover up. But I think, to kind of put in a little ray of sunshine, a little glimmer of hope here is that these cover-ups are being basically dismantled very, very quickly.
Yes.
Because of the power of the internet, the power of decentralized journalism. Everybody's hearing a clip. They're like, wait a second. I heard something different. And they find that clip, they post it online, and we're like, oh, wow, this is not exactly what you said, right? The thing with the Charlie Kirk stuff as well as the fire. Like, we can literally now go back and say, this is what you said the day after the fire, and now you're saying something completely different, and now we can get you for this. So I think this is a good thing.
Yes, and I also just want to urge everybody at home to screen record any important information, because I do think that there is an effort to rewrite history in a lot of these cases. And even if you go back, remember Jesse Ventura had the show Conspiracy Theories or Conspiracy Theorists. And he did some episodes that you cannot find now.
They just scrubbed from the internet, huh?
Completely. One 9/11, another one HARP, completely scrubbed. Like, I've been able to find them, but I'm just saying they're mostly gone. And it's weird because like Amazon Prime has his episodes, right? But then like you'll go through the different seasons and it'll be like episode 1, 4, 6, 8.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, where's 5?
It's unbelievable. Yeah, download everything. That is the lesson.
And then back it up to a hard drive and send it to us.
And it's like, and I think the more you try to do this, the more you try to cover something up, the less it works, right? You're kind of telling on yourself. It's going to only bring more attention to the story.
Well, exactly. Actually,
right?
Today I sent you, speaking of this, an Alexis Wilkins tweet.
Yeah, the one where
Kash Patel's girlfriend, right? Candace Owens yesterday said that one of her episodes was demonetized, which imagine that's hundreds of thousands of dollars because of the Tim Dillon clip that we also played on our episode where part of her song is played and then Tim Dillon goes, Israel, or whatever. And she's like, yeah, I guess Alexis reported me. Instead of Alexis just saying nothing, Alexis goes on Twitter today to set the record straight.
It's like, I'm too busy to report you. I mean, this is,
Yeah, with my sensational country records. But it's just like, that's a perfect example, right? She can't lay low.
I think probably because she is using this. I mean, I think part of her is enjoying this. I think.
Part of her? She's wanted to be famous her whole entire life. She's a child actress.
Yeah, and she never made it.
She's like Kathy Griffin, where she's like, all publicity is good publicity.
Yeah.
Like, no one knew who she was. Nobody was talking to her about her.
No.
But now it's
now that she's dating Kash Patel. Ooh. Whole different story here. Speaking of which, so we're going to get to the comments in a quick second here. But this is just a little bit of a personal update. I won an award last week. Holy shit, this is a big honor here. If I just, hold on, how do I put this up on the screen? Yeah, so apparently I have been awarded. I didn't even know this. They didn't reach out to me.
Oh,
okay,
wow.
They never reached out to me.
Rude.
Yeah, they didn't reach out to me just to notify me that I was a recipient. Like, what is that all about? But a viewer of mine DM'd me and said, by the way, just want to let you know this, but I've been awarded Anti-Semite of the Week. Wow.
So you joked about this on X and you said hey mom, look, I've made it or something. And it was the weekend and we weren't filming and you were traveling or whatever. But I never knew this existed. And I texted you and I was like, hey, is this real? I didn't know this was a thing. I was flabbergasted by this, right? I was I actually wanted to know, did you chat GPT? What was this? I had no idea.
Oh, you thought I just made this up?
No, I didn't know. Or one of somebody somebody else made it up and gave it to you or something.
No, this is a big time advocacy group for I guess Jewish rights or whatever. I mean, they're mostly pro-Israel. I've looked into their funding. A lot of it comes from Israel themselves. But if you look at the past recipients here, I am among some of the greats. If you can full screen that so people could see Just click on slideshow. Here we go. All right, so anti-Semitic. To me, most recent, but we also have Cynthia Nixon of Sex and the City, also an anti-Semite of the week. Tucker Carlson, Cenk Uygur, Anna Kasparian. The other ones, you recognize all these people? Miss Rachel, Kanye, of course. You got Ian Carroll on there.
Joe Rogan.
Greta Thunberg, Macklemore, Candace. If you see right there, there's Mamdani.
Yes.
And then is that Bella?
Yep.
Bella Hadid.
Bella Hadid.
Mark Ruffalo, and the Ayatollah. Amongst the many. There are a lot of others that I just wanted to put some on there. Although I did get a funny comment because somebody was like, they used a good picture. They usually use horrible pictures of people, but they used a good one of me.
I mean, that is good, right? That is good. But yeah, I asked you, I think I might have called you, and I was like, do they vote like anti-Semite of the year? Because I couldn't believe this.
Yes, they absolutely have. I think Candace Owens was the recipient last year.
And I was like, this is so crazy. As someone that didn't know this existed, I'm like, so what? You call into 1-800-866-72 anti-Semite. Like I was like perplexed by this whole entire thing. I just couldn't believe it to be true.
Yeah, and I think this is an issue for them. So to bring it back to what we were talking about is like, this is not helping the case. If you can put people like Cynthia Nixon with the Ayatollah, like you've clearly lost the plot here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like this isn't effective to fight anti-Semitism anymore. Because I've always said like the stuff that I put out, even though it's interpreted as anti-Semitic by some of these people, my whole point is to stop anti-Semitism because I know the dangers of conflating the actions of a nation state with a religion, right? All of a sudden, if you were to flip that, let's say, for example, and talk about the U.S. in a religious context and say this is a Christian nation and all the wars that the U.S. has committed, all the atrocities because of Christians.
Yeah.
That would have a huge effect on the number of people who hate Christians.
Right.
Because you're saying this is objectively a horrible action. Carpet bombing Cambodia and Laos, during the Vietnam War is on behalf of Christianity.
Yeah. And I think that there's been such a push in the media purposely to tie the two together that even for me in the beginning, it was like confusing because I didn't want to come across as anti-Semitic by going against Israel. And then once you separate the two, it's obvious they're two separate things, right? And they should be. But they purposely, try to keep them tied together.
Right, because I think it's always worked. In the past, right? Yes. It's always worked. It has always used to be a chilling effect of say, if you criticize Israel, you're being anti-Semitic, so then people criticize Israel less. It's always worked. Now I think the movement has shifted a little bit, and especially the young people, TikTok, all these videos, you can't really say that being against babies being blown up is like anti-Semitic.
No, not at all. And I think also, just like I talked about this on my TikTok live the other day because I haven't been on live because I was basically about to get my account banned for 5 months on and off. And so I just wasn't on when I'm normally live like 5 days a week. And so someone asked me like, what do you think about Trump's presidency so far? Because I was saying like, hey, out of these two options, I'm voting for President Trump because I want to stop sending money to the Middle East. I want to stop sending money to Ukraine. Yeah. That was a big, big thing. Freedom of speech was one of them. Closing the borders was one of them. But, stop being involved with other people's wars. And so it's like, that's what we wanted, right? That's what the nation overwhelmingly voted for, and it hasn't stopped. Right?
But now the voice is strong. You could see that the MAGA movement is being impacted by this, right? Because people like yourself voted to not get involved. So it's really hard to explain why we are involved in a lot of these situations. So that shows the power. It used to be, it just was shut down. And now the movement has grown so much that people are kind of afraid of this, but like Nick Fuentes' voice is now much more prominent than it ever was because he's taking some of these positions that are popular with the people.
Yeah, everybody's saying like America first, America only. They're the people that were voting.
Well, they went to America only after America first was then co-opted by saying America first is Israel first as well.
Okay, well,
so that's why
the
people started going America only.
But the point is that there is a large portion of people that voted for Trump, like myself, who I'm a registered independent. I really like that RFK Jr. joined his, party. I was a big Maha person, but I didn't want to fund these wars. So there are people like me that are like, hey, I'm not just going to support this administration no matter what. Like I would support the Dodgers or the Padres or the Yankees, right? I want these items supported. So there's both sets of people involved there. And so you are going to have some people that are just no matter what, die hard, I'm going to live and die, MAGA. And then I think majority of people are like, no, you haven't given us what we voted for, and that's why we voted for you. I think that's majority of people. But those voices are silenced because they don't want you to think that that's the majority, because that gives the people too much power.
Right. And the people have spoken. Now they're having trouble controlling things. I think that's the whole point. It's like, we're doing this because we need to uncover who the people are that's perpetuating a cover-up, that's perpetuating the established order, right? If you're on that side, you're a part of the cover, right? Thomas Massey's clip I thought was really, really good. He's saying, hey, if you're doing anything to stop the information from coming out, you are a part of this cover-up.
Well, I love that he said, we need to uncover the people that went to Rape Island.
Exactly. So he's like, I don't care if you went to Rape, your friends went to Rape Island. You're going to have to get this. So you're either on the side of unveiling the truth, or you're on the side of the cover-up. For example, Shawn Ryan, part of the cover-up.
Yeah.
100%. I don't care if there's some true things said on that podcast. I don't care if he's done some really good episodes before, or his whole thing, like he's a nice guy. Doesn't matter. He's covering something up. The people at Turning Point USA, cover up. Kash Patel, cover up. Pam Bondi, cover up. If you are doing something to stop the truth from coming out, you're doing a cover up.
100%.
So I think that's, that's a good place. Maybe should we get to the comments for the last few minutes?
Yeah,
here?
because this is, I think, our longest show ever, and I might need to reapply cover up if we go any longer.
But so you can see right there the comments. I pulled it up right there. You can read it right there.
Do I go to favorites?
Well, I think we had I don't know if we had any favorites.
This one I think was the other one.
So this is where, because we don't have an actual producer pulling in favorites, we don't have any favorites. But if you want to just scroll through it, if you want to read any of them.
Okay. Well, if you have any, since your screen is bigger.
Actually, just pull that up to the big screen, so then you could
all of it.
Yeah, just pull that in. No, not the message, but the whole window. Not that window.
Oh, I see. This is its own window.
Yes. Boom.
Okay, here we go. We're learning, ladies and gentlemen.
And I think you can make it bigger too. You can make it like.
Well, we're good here, so let's just
keep
keep it.
Okay, cool.
Let's see here.
And I promise we're gonna get the technology figured out.
I think we're doing pretty good.
I was like one thing at a time. We're going to do one additional feature at a time.
Look, I shut down our production notes and got it back. So I'm feeling really good that happened like 30 seconds. All progressives and liberals said Shawn Ryan used to be good, but the last 2 to 3 years, he's brought on clear plants like the head of Charlie's Security or people to give us wrong info or the wrong direction. I don't trust Shawn Ryan.
Right,
Thumbs
the New Year's
down.
Day. The New Year's Day cyber truck bombing. We talked about this yesterday on the phone. I was like, I feel like Shawn Ryan did some weird shit earlier this year. That was what he was. He brought on some guy that basically said this is a guy that was deranged or something like that. And
then he went in hiding for his family for something else. Yeah. Like, it was crazy. Which, by the way, James and I are going to do a Christmas episode. And we're gonna do a year in review to keep it light.
Yes, a little light
Merry
episode.
Merry Christmas! Remember in January when the Cybertruck blew up in Las Vegas? Theodore Hitchcock.
Oh, not even the Cybertruck. The guy in New Orleans running into the crowd. Horrific accident, and then the news following up. The New York Post going over there and finding a page open to the Quran of.
Wait, and remember that we're doing the show now. But remember the new journalist was wearing Lululemons. Like, she was wearing like a workout outfit.
Yes.
I'm like, wow, she's real official. And I'm someone who does that all the time, but like, I'm also not
I don't want to say dress code is an issue. I don't care what people dress like, but obviously you're going into a staged apartment.
It didn't add to the credibility of the scene. Theodore Hitchcock, yes, the Egyptians really are intelligence. Egypt is tight with America and Israel. Mossad are great at recruiting Muslims.
Yeah, that's true. Part of the reason why we fund Egypt a lot, because people will say, "Oh, we fund Egypt a lot." That is actually for Israel. It's a proxy funding for Israel.
So there you go. The Stroker 777. I've gotten this my whole entire life. I feel the gal here yells at the mic when she speaks. Makes it hard to listen to. Simmer down now. Speak, don't yell. I'm aware. I haven't been able to stop it yet my whole life, so I would just say turn down the volume. I'll do my best, but I get excited.
You get excited. I feel like you have 2 volumes, I've heard.
Yes.
One is like loud, another is like extra loud.
Okay, so the point is that it's not like I'm different on and off camera.
No.
I don't like come in and I'm like, hey, James, what's up? And then I get on and I'm like, so. Like I'm constantly like that. In fact, James called me this week. He was in not Delaware, Maine. And I didn't even say hello. I was working on a story. I'm like, oh my God, you called it a crazy time right now. I'm working on these license plates and it's insane. And he's like, good morning.
Yeah. Hello.
I was like, I couldn't even say hello. This is Chris Sam the Mug. I might be saying that wrong. This guy doesn't look like a master of private security. He doesn't seem very agile or cerebral individual. He could just be bad at his job. So there you go. Megyn Kelly's interview with James Alphinitis is very telling of who she is too. Don't forget.
Yeah, Megyn Kelly has been split from, I think she is one of those people, I don't know her at all, never met her, never spoken to her, but she seems like one of those people who kind of does what she feels like doing. I don't think she's necessarily controlled. Obviously, there's influence on her, but she still sticks her neck out, let's say for Candace, for Tucker. So I do think she's one of those people that is more independent, if that's something that we could say, although that goes against my either you're part of the cover-up or you're not kind of thing. I think if you do anything to cover it up, you're kind of part of the cover-up.
Yeah, I think too that at her level, I can only imagine like there is a little bit of fear there, right? Like she has a personal life. She's a mom of, I think, 3. Like you do have to tote the line a little bit, especially like the combination of what happened to Charlie Kirk being publicly executed and now what's happening to like lower level podcasters and creators that inferred that Kash Patel's girlfriend is a honeypot. Like the combination of that is a concern because it feels like, are we entering into a season of life where if you say something that doesn't support the narrative, lawfare will be used against you?
Yes, that is 100% true. That's what, I mean, we're in a dungeon, by the way, so we're just nobody's coming, nobody knows where this is. It's a dungeon. And I feel like if we ever have guests or whatever on here, we have to go to a different place.
I think we so far we have every time.
Let me see if there's anything
Wandering
else that I see here.
Melmouth said, Erika is either a handler or a puppet.
Yes.
Does Dani have a lightsaber?
Yeah.
I do.
There it is.
Let's go down to the bottom, more recent ones, because I was all the way at the top. Thank you for the love. Let's see. Do you have any?
Let me see here. Right, magic bullets, miracle bullets, miracle fires, miracles all around. Mighty Tiger 3000 couldn't have said it better. Everything is a miracle. They want us to believe in miracles.
Yes.
Yet we are the conspiracy theorists, right? They're saying that the bullet did something that it's never done before. The fire did something that it's, unlikely to happen.
Yeah.
And we're the ones saying, wait, hold on a second. That seems not right.
I've been called a tin head for at least 15 years.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, I wear it proud. Like I've said before on other episodes, if you haven't been a conspiracy theorist at all, I'm more concerned about you.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you believe everything they're telling you, like you know. Bob Law Blah said, I love podcasts before they get big. It feels more authentic, but I understand they need to grow.
Yeah, so that's a good point, because it's like once you grow and you get a certain influence, it's just hard to stop, hard to continue down that same path. Like we're going to try to do it. We're going to try to do it through not being financially tied to any big sponsors.
Yes, I just like that he thinks that we're good.
He didn't say that we're good. He just says,
I love podcasts, so this one. Love was in there.
I know, you always think everybody, yeah.
Well, no, if they don't like me, I've already read a couple comments. They're explicit in that. Like, shut up. Brian took zero responsibility for his fuck up. Talking about the head of security.
No, he took zero responsibility. That's so messed up. He should be fired from his job. He should not be allowed to work in security ever again.
No. And they need to get their story straight, but I think it's too late. So thank you guys so much for being here.
Yes, thank you guys so much for being a part of the chat. That was, it's popping. I feel like every stream we do, there's like a few more people in the stream. You know what I mean? Like when we first did our live, there was like 7 comments or something. I don't know.
And they were from my mom.
But now I feel like, okay, there's, the momentum is building. It's much appreciated. Thank you guys for helping support the show, getting us into our own studio.
You.
Yes, we do. And now we're just going to keep growing. Next time, I'm going to figure out how to do this in a better way. But yeah, if you want to do Super Chats, we'll be able to pull it onto the screen, which we figured out how to do. But we love getting the comments. And yes, one day we will get a Jamie. One day we will.
That comment too.
We will have a Jamie.
But for now, you guys, we're doing pretty good for just the two of us.
It's
just the two of us.
Right? Because Dani's, just so people know the background, right? Or behind the scenes.
Yes.
Dani is pulling up the elements. She's playing them. I am controlling the cameras. And so I have to do a better job.
With his foot, which is why at the beginning of this episode, you didn't see me.
No, it's because sometimes when it starts, I'm so excited to start that I forget, oh yeah, I have to do this.
Yes.
I have to go back and forth between the two. But yes, thank you guys. If you guys want to support the show, Patreon, great way to do it. Also, just subscribe on YouTube. We're trying to get...
comment, share.
Yeah, the more people who watch the show, the more, people get to hear the truth. Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys, thank you so much. We will actually be on next Tuesday because Thanksgiving is already here.
Can you believe that? That's insane.
We're going to be busy on Thanksgiving because we actually do have real lives. So we're going to do a live on Tuesday. So tune in for that, same time, 11 a.m. And let us know what you think about all of this down below. Bye. Now do I have to go here and finish the show and broadcast?